Okay, we're going to spend some time on homework review today. Just a lot of homework to catch up on going over. Want to make sure that you understand what's going on, all that fun stuff. So let's start with section 1, day 3. We've already done the ones before this, so if you didn't get those ones, go back and look again. All right, so it says use a calculator in degree mode. Find the following, round your answer to 4 decimal places. I can see that my calculator is already in degree mode. So now I just sine 32. There's my answer, 0.5299. Clear that. Cosine 68, 0.3746. Tangent of 6, 0.1051. Now it gets a little more difficult because now I have to know what my trig functions are and what their reciprocals are. So cosecant of 25 is actually just 1 over the sine of 25. So when I put that into the calculator, I'm going to do 1 divided by sine 25. Gives me 2.3662. Secant is 1 over the cosine. So 1 divided by the cosine of 47 gives you 1.4663. Cotangent is 1 over the tangent, so 1 over... The only thing with Desmos is you really have to pay attention to that. I've had that happen multiple times. Where I don't push enter because I see the answer. Make sure you're pushing enter so you don't end up with what I just did. 1 over the tangent of 39 gives me 1.2354 and then 9. Okay, exercises 21 through 26. It says use the exact values of the trig ratios for the special angles to find a value of theta that's a solution of the given equation. So what you would have to do for this one is go to the table that I did. We did that in our notes. It was right at the end of one of the videos. If you go to that table, you'll find all of our special values. For sine of theta is 1/2 when theta is 60. For tangent being 1, it would be 45. For cosecant theta, so that would be 1 over the sine of theta. Now these ones I don't even have remembered. The cosecant, secant, and cotangent. Because we've already talked about the unit circle. Based off the unit circle, we know what all of our sine and cosine are. And so it kind of messes it up. Well, I don't think we actually did talk about the unit circle yet. We'll get there. We looked at the radian measures of the unit circle, but we'll get there for the actual sine and cosine and how that works. So this is 1 over sine is equal to root 2. If I look at the table that I gave you, it is right in here. Go down to cosecant, and root 2 tells us that that's 45. Cotangent root 3 is 30. Cosine theta equal to 1/2 is going to be 30. Must have been an earthquake. See the way I was wiggling? And then secant theta being equal to 2 is going to be theta equals 60. So we get all those answers just based off of the table. We could also do our inverse trig functions on the calculator. If I go into my inverse trig functions, say for sine of 1/2, you go sine inverse of and go back to main 1/2. And that tells you that it's 30. Wow. So that tells me that I messed up on that first one. And that is right. It is 30, not 60. The rest of them are right, though, I swear. Wow. Loriana messing up again. And if I want to confirm that, it's right here in the table. I was thinking the cosine of theta equals 1/2. That is 60. All right, my bad. Leave me alone. Not a big deal. Let's move forward. Tangent of B. So if I go tan B, that is equal to opposite over adjacent. So it's B over A. So that's 1/2. And that is my answer. If I'm looking for sine A, opposite over hypotenuse. So that's A over C. So that's 5/7. If I'm looking at 29, cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse. So I'm looking for adjacent side, which is B, over the hypotenuse, which is 8. So that's 3 over 8. Number 30, cotangent of A. Cotangent of A is adjacent over opposite. So if I'm looking for the cotangent of A, it's adjacent over opposite. So that would be B over A, which would give me 15 over 12. And I can reduce that because I can divide both of those by 3. Gives me 5/4. Number 31, secant of B. Remember, that's 1 over the cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's hypotenuse over adjacent. I'm looking at B. My hypotenuse is C, which is 16. Adjacent is 7. So it's 16 over 7. In the last one, B equals 2, C equals 3, cosecant of B. That's going to be hypotenuse over opposite. So that's going to give me 3 over 2. Okay, that assignment's done. Move on to the next. See, it should only take you 8 minutes to do these assignments. Not a big deal. I'm kidding. I know I have way more experience at this than you do. In exercises 1 through 6, find side C in the figure below by using the given conditions. So I have cosine of A is equal to 12 over 13. That tells me that this is 12. I'm sorry. Cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse. So this is 12, this is 13, and B is 39. So I set a ratio up. B is on the bottom. So if I'm trying to find side C, it goes on the top. Now I just cross multiply. 12 times 39, 13 times x. The other way I can do this is to figure out what will give me 39. 13 times 3 is 39, so 12 times 3 would give me x, which is 36. That's my answer for C. So it's all about setting up an equivalent ratio. Sine C. Erase. Going opposite over hypotenuse. So we have the hypotenuse on the bottom. which means my b is on the bottom. Now I can either cross multiply. 3 times 12 is 36, equals 4x. Divide by 4, x equals 9. The other way I could do that is 4 times 3 gives me 12. 3 times what would give me x? It's got to be times the same thing. So 3 times 3 is 9. Either way, it's going to give you the same answer. Tangent is 5 over 12, and it tells you that a is 15. Looking at the tangent of a, opposite over adjacent, a is 15, a is the opposite, so that's 15 over c. I can cross multiply, or 5 times 3 is 15, so 12 times 3 is 36. Number 4, secant of a is 2. So we're on a again. We're doing secant now, which is hypotenuse over adjacent. Sorry. Hypotenuse over adjacent. My hypotenuse would be on top. You notice that this isn't a fraction, so that's just 2 over 1. B is my hypotenuse. It goes on top. 8 over c. 2 times 4 is 8, so 1 times 4 is c. c equals 4. Cotangent of a is 6. Remember again, that's 6 over 1. Cotangent is adjacent over opposite. So it tells us that our adjacent side is going to be on top, and our opposite side is on the bottom. So that's 1.4 on the bottom, and then c on the top. 1 times 1.4 gives me 1.4. So then I do 6 times 1.4 to find c. That's 8.4. Okay, last one of these. Cosecant of c is 1.5. Remember, that's the same as 1.5 over 1. For the cosecant, that is opposite, or hypotenuse over opposite, because it's the flip of the sign. So I have hypotenuse over opposite, so that's 4.5 over c. 1.5 times 3 gives me 4.5, so c is equal to 3. Just do 1 times 3 to find the bottom number. That's it for that one. Section 2, day 2. Find the exact value of h without using a calculator. So some people were upset when I gave them this assignment. So how am I supposed to use not use a calculator with this? Well, let's go ahead and find where we put that table at. Cut that out. Go over to here. Okay. So if I have 45, if I look at this table in my picture, I have opposite and hypotenuse given to me. So that tells me that I'm going to use the sine function. So sine of 45 is equal to the opposite, h, over the hypotenuse, which is 25. So now I go down to my 45-degree angle, and sine is root 2 over 2. So this has to equal root 2 over 2. Now I cross multiply. 2h equals 25 root 2. divide by 2. I get h equals 25 root 2 over 2. I'm done. It wants exact, which means I don't put it in the calculator and simplify this radical. Just 25 root 2 over 2. This one, I have 60. This is adjacent. This is hypotenuse. Tells me it's cosine of 60 equals the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse, go down to 60. That's 1/2. Cross multiply. That's kind of nice. I get h equals 144. Number 9. Opposite hypotenuse. So I know I'm using sine. Sine of 30 equals 150 over h. Sine of 30 is 1/2. Cross multiply, I get h equals 300 because I only have one h when I cross multiply. Number 10. For this one, I have adjacent over hypotenuse. Tells me it's going to be the cosine of 45 is equal to 12 over h. Cosine of 45 is root 2 over 2. 12 times 2 is 24. So I have root 2 times h equals 24. I don't know why I wrote 124. Get it together. Divide by root 2. H equals 24 over root 2. Can't have a square root in the denominator, so I rationalized by multiplying by the square root of 2 on top and bottom. That's going to give me 24 root 2 over 2. 24 divided by 2. I can only divide this outside number, not what's under the root. 24 divided by 2 is 12 root 2. Number 11. This is adjacent. This is the hypotenuse. I have cosine of 30 equals h over 100. That's root 3 over 2. Multiply this out, you get 2h equals 100 root 3. Divide by 2, h equals 50 root 3. Done. Okay, in exercises 25 through 28, find angle theta. Opposite hypotenuse, that tells me I'm going to be using cosine theta equals 3 over 4. Wow, what an idiot. Sine theta, it's opposite. So, not co. Sine theta equals 3 over 4. In order to do this, I find theta equals sine inverse of 3/4. Bring up my trusty calculator. Go back into func. Sine inverse. Back to main of 3/4. It tells me it's 48.59037 or 0.5904. Next one. This one is going to be a cosine because it's adjacent over hypotenuse. So it's cosine theta equals 10 over 12. cosine inverse, 10 over 12 gives me 33.5573. And last one, this is adjacent and hypotenuse again. So I'm going to do cosine theta equals 2 over 3. Take the cosine inverse again of 2/3. 48.1897. And that's it. All right, video was a little long today, but lots of homework review. And when you see a homework review video, you can always feel free to jump wherever in the video you need help. All right, guys, have a good one.